Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to video number three of my energy series. And now this is a series where I'm giving you some tools, tactics, and practices to help you to get more energy and to fight fatigue. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I get a lot of emails every single week from people talking to me about their problems and their problems when it comes to health and fitness. And one of the biggest things that comes up is that they just don't feel like they have time to train. They don't feel like they have time for anything. And it's because they feel so tired at the end of their work days. And if you're lacking energy and you're fighting fatigue, it's going to be really hard to get the energy together to try to get over to a gym and get a workout in, or get outside, or spend time with your family. And so we're not just building your body here. We're not just helping to get you fit. We're doing that, but we're also trying to make your life better. And that's a huge factor of what we try to do here at Warrior Soul. So let's get into today's tips, and these are centered around getting the best night's sleep possible. This is a freaking controversial subject, and it's something that I've never been really good at. And so, you know, for me, I'm actually still learning a lot of this stuff as far as sleep goes, and learning about its importance. I was one of these guys who would brag about how he could survive on 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night and still get things done. And I wore it on my shoulder like a red badge of courage. But the problem is that one of the things that I started noticing, and one of the things that I've been really trying to remedy in my life, sorry, there's a guy running a machine outside my window. One of the things I've been really trying to remedy in my life is actually making sure that I'm my best self at all times. I think he's going away. Yeah, he's going away. I'm my best self at all times, and I can't do that if I'm lacking sleep. I might be able to feel okay on 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, but what I've noticed is that my memory gets a little bit worse. I start to miss things. My mood gets affected. You know, I get a little bit more angry when I haven't had sleep. And it's not like crazy psycho being mad at anything or blowing up at anybody. That's just not me. But I notice that internally, I'll start to talk shit with inside myself. You know, I'll start to, you know, be like, well, I don't want to do this right now. And I'll have a more negative attitude. And so, though you might think it's not affecting you, it is. Right? We're made to sleep, you know, 7.5 to 8.5 hours a night. And that's the way we are as living things. And regardless of what kind of modern technologies come out, we are on the leash of biology, right? So we're living, breathing organisms that require certain things, and sleep is one of them. So knowing that, and knowing that we require this, we also have to understand that as living organisms, we've been on this earth for a while, and we were on this earth for a while before we had any of these devices that are now coming into our lives. Computers, smartphones, television screens, and things like that. Our brains really aren't used to having this much light and this much stimulus in general, and this much abundance around us for you know, for all intents and purposes. And so our brains can get really affected by these types of stimulus that, you know, are constantly surrounding us now. And if you think about it, you know, how many times a day do you check your phone? How many times a night do you check your phone? How often are you staring at a TV screen? And how often are you staring at a computer screen? And for most of you watching this YouTube channel right now, you're probably doing it quite a bit of time, and it's probably definitely having an effect on your sleep. So I want to get into a few simple things you can do to really remedy this situation and really improve your sleep. Number one is something I just mentioned. You really want to reduce the amount of time you're staring at a screen within 2 to 3 hours of going to bed. And this is huge because all of these devices emit blue light. That blue light tricks your brain into thinking that it's daylight outside, and that in turn keeps your hypothalamus from secreting certain hormones that are going to help you to sleep. You know, melatonin, human growth hormone, all these different types of things can become inhibited because you were staring at some blue light and your brain was tricked into thinking that it was daylight. Similarly, some of your other sex hormones can get affected because it also prevents the secretion of DHEA, which is a precursor to testosterone. So if your sex life has been affected negatively, again, it might be because of some of this blue light that's hitting your brain. So number one is try to reduce it. Now, I also understand that there's a lot of you out there who work a lot, and some of you can't help but stare at a computer screen for a little bit at nighttime. And there is a solution out there for you. They're called blue light sun blocking glasses, or blue light blocking sunglasses. And you can find them actually pretty inexpensively out there on Amazon.com. I think I saw them for like $9.99. Really awesome. That'll allow you to stare at a screen for a bit of time and allow you to do so without getting blue light hitting your brain. I still don't recommend getting online and being on there all night long. It's just not good. You're also, adding ideas in your head, and you're giving yourself different things to think about, particularly if you're doing business. So don't burn the midnight oil too much. Don't consider those glasses a license to burn the midnight oil. They're just a good tool if you have to be on the computer a little bit longer than usual. And they're a great tool for those of you who don't see a lot of daylight outside. And when you're in your offices and you're constantly in there, and sometimes you're going into the office and it's dark out because it's early morning, and you're leaving because you're leaving when it's dark out in the evening. It would be good to wear those glasses during certain hours in your office. They don't look too weird or anything like that. So that's the number one tip. Number two, as you're getting into bed, you really want to control the temperature and the environment you're sleeping in, right? So I try to keep my sleeping environment to under 70 degrees. That makes it just a little bit chilly enough that I'm a little bit uncomfortable before I get into bed and snuggle down in the covers. So you can be perfectly comfortable in the covers, but it should be a little bit chilly in the external space. So try to make your bedroom as cool as possible. Another tool for this is taking a cold shower before you get into bed. Making sure that you're hitting yourself. Cold water is great, super anti-inflammatory, and it'll help to relax you and help to set your circadian rhythm. The other thing is you want to keep the environment you're sleeping in as dark as possible, and not let any light in. Now you can do this by duct taping blackout curtains over the window or something like that. I'm a little bit lazy, so I ordered this mask. It runs about $20. It's called the Mindfold, and the cool part about this mask is that it's got these little slots in here for your eyes, so it doesn't like hit your eyelids or anything like that, and makes you feel like you're in a dark room. The other thing is make sure that you've been adequately hydrated throughout the day. And I talked about this in the last video. This is huge. If you're trying to sleep and you're dehydrated, that can seriously affect your brain's ability to produce some of those hormones that are going to help you to sleep. The other thing is, you really want to make sure that you're taking in minerals, as I said in the last video. Making sure that you're adding Himalayan pink salt to your food, making sure that you're getting enough electrolytes to allow you to stay hydrated, because water is only part of the story. And you can check out the last video if you want to learn more about that. As far as sleep supplements go, first I'll tell you about some supplements to avoid. Number one, don't take pre-workout as you're doing your evening workout. It's really not helping you any with the training front, because it is a vasoconstrictor. You're not going to get a lot of blood to different types of areas. Most stimulants are vasoconstrictors. You're not going to get a lot of blood to different areas where you want to get them to during the workout. And two, it could help to dehydrate you. And three, it could keep you up because it's a stimulant, right? Similarly, I'd avoid coffee late at night, and I would try to keep your stimulants down to I drink coffee every day, so I'm one to talk, but you don't want to go overboard with your stimulants. You don't want to be one of these people who drinks 10 cups of coffee a day, and one, the extra caffeine is not helping you out to a certain point. Number two, it's going to severely affect your hormones through your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Now, what happens there is stimulants negatively affect you by causing you to overproduce cortisol. That's the stress hormone. And then eventually, as you're overproducing cortisol, what can happen is your body starts to get used to that much cortisol being there, and it stops responding. And so your body starts to do what's called a cortisol dump, and it stops producing cortisol altogether. And cortisol is one of these things that you really need to survive. It helps you to wake up in the morning, and it literally keeps your central nervous system running properly. And if you get a cortisol dump, that's a really severe situation where you can end up in the hospital. I've actually been there before. It feels like the worst hangover you've ever had, and it causes your body to ache. It's horrible. So definitely make sure that you're not overdoing the stimulants, and really take care of yourself there. 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day is good. You don't need much more than that. And then, as I told you over the last video, I gave you lots of tips as far as getting as much energy from water and hydration as you would from caffeine. So definitely check that out again. So there's also some supplements that you can take to help you to get to sleep. Now, keep in mind that supplements aren't going to make or break your sleep for you. All right? I'm a big believer that people should not be dependent on external substances that are going to help them to get to sleep. And so that definitely includes pharmaceuticals. Not a big fan of those in helping sleep patterns. And I say that as somebody who used to take Ambien and used to take some other sleep aids in order to try to get to sleep. That's not going to fix the root cause of the issue, which generally has to do with your hormones and whether or not your brain is effective at secreting the right hormones at the right time. So the supplements I recommend generally help to do that. The first one I recommend is magnesium. Magnesium is something I take every night, and I take it before I go to bed, 400 to 500 milligrams a dose. I don't go higher than that because magnesium is also known to cause some intestinal discomfort if you take it at really high doses, but that dose has always been really good for me. Magnesium is anti-inflammatory. It's actually responsible for over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. So it's really vital for us, for our health, for our survival. It is also known to help you to sleep. And I like it a lot better than taking a melatonin supplement before I go to bed, because melatonin tends to make me a little bit groggy when I wake up in the morning. The other thing I take from time to time is cannabidiol. Now, cannabidiol is, I think you can get it legally now. The hemp-based form is legal. I can get it through a dispensary here in California because I have my California medical marijuana card, and CBD is non-psychoactive, right? So the reason why I don't necessarily recommend smoking cannabis prior to go to bed for THC is because THC for me has never really worked to put me to sleep, whether it's indica or sativa. I tend to think a little bit, things a little bit more deeply when I take THC. I'm not saying don't take it. I just think it's not the most effective thing to help you to go to bed. It can also affect your energy levels when you wake up in the morning if it's been there for a little bit too long. So I tend to go with CBD because it's non-psychoactive. It really helps to relax your central nervous system. It's also super anti-inflammatory. And I've used this quite a bit to help me with my ulcerative colitis. And this is the kind I use right here. The other things you can take are gamma amino butyric acid. That's GABA for short. GABA is a neurotransmitter, and it helps to relax the central nervous system. It's also known to help to induce secretion of human growth hormone. And so that's another hormone that's really vital for us while we go to sleep. It helps us to repair our bodies. It helps us to regenerate brain cells, things like that. And if your human growth hormone is deficient, that can affect almost every other hormonal process in your body. So it's really important that we get that all together. There's also, you can take alpha GPC. And if you're interested in taking alpha GPC, the benefit there is lucid dreaming. And if you're going to be asleep, you might as well be dreaming. So you can take some alpha GPC there. It's also a nootropic, and that helps you to stay focused and on task. It also helps, it's a form of choline, so it also helps with repairing brain cells. I tend to take a bunch of these together in a single spray called dinotropin. Now, dinotropin is a human growth hormone secretagogue. It's one of the few secretagogues that's got an immense amount of clinical testing behind it. So this has been tested on over 1,000 patients, and in each case it's been shown to raise growth hormone levels by 50 to 200%. It also acts as a nootropic since it does have alpha GPC in it, and it's got a bunch of things in here that can induce focus and help your brain with repairing any negative hormonal cascade involving growth hormone. We actually sell this in full disclosure on Warrior Soul, and I'll put a link for it below, but the reason why I sell it is because it works, and it's developed by a gentleman named Dr. Mark Gordon, who is an interventional endocrinologist who specializes in brain health, and Dr. Gordon has helped a lot of veterans in recovering from their traumatic brain injury through something called the Warrior Angels Foundation, which I'll put a link for below. But those are my tips surrounding sleep. Remember, sleep is extremely vital for you. Remember that you don't want to get a chemically induced sleep by taking one of these sleep-inducing products that you see on the market. That's not going to fix the underlying cause of the issue, which probably tends to do with hormonal health, or you coming off your circadian rhythm, or because of some of those external stimulus that you're getting from blue light. Make sure that you're following all the other rules here. Staying hydrated, taking care of your digestion, making sure that you're eating an anti-inflammatory diet. So that concludes video number 3 in the series. I hope you're getting a lot out of this. And as always, you can check out the rest of the series under videos, or no, it's under articles on warriorsolagogi.com, and I'll put a link for all those below as well. So get a good night's sleep tonight, guys, and I will be back at you soon with the next video in the energy series.